GCSE Design Technology Core Area Smart Materials. In this tutorial you will learn different technical materials, different composite materials and different smart materials. You will also have the opportunity to create revision flashcards. If you wish to create revision flashcards as we go along, make them really attractive. Write each title of the type of material down and then shorten them down into your own words of one sentence of what each one is. Examples of technical materials are shown below that we will talk through in the tutorial. Same for the composite and smart materials. Shown below are how you can make a flashcard that just bullet points the key information for each one. I mentioned this in the fibres core, so we're going to talk about microfibres. This is a technical fabric. A technical fabric is a fabric that has additional properties that makes it more suitable for a certain job. Microfibres have extremely fine synthetic fibres. They're very lightweight, very soft and drape well. But because they are so fine, it gives them the extra property that they can get into smaller spaces. For example, if you look at the picture at the bottom, the cotton fibre only pushes dirt and moisture away, whereas a microfibre lifts and traps moisture and dirt. This makes it suitable for sportswear and dusting and cleaning. Geotextiles is used for landscaping. It's a type of weed control fabric. It avoids the use of chemicals, which means that it's used on organic farming. It's lightweight and simple to use. Placing it on top of the soil and then opening a gap for the plants, this stops weeds from growing in between. Another fabric in the technical fibres is Nomex. Nomex is used on fire suits. This is because of its fire resistant properties. It is thin yet fire resistant so that fire workers can work quickly and efficiently. It is also used on other gloves. Gore-Tex is a fabric that uses layers to prevent water from coming in but keep perspiration out. It's a waterproof, breathable fabric. You can see at the side with the picture, it has an outer Gore-Tex material that keeps the cold and the rain out, but the layers underneath let water vapour or sweat come from underneath. It blocks wind and it's only used with synthetic fabric. This is also used in things like tents, waterproof walking gear, sporting fabric, but it's also used in healthcare. Wound care fabrics are created with Gore-Tex to create a barrier that stops moisture going back into the skin but allows the skin to breathe and heal. Tencel is a regenerated fabric but is also a technical fabric. This is because it is natural because it comes from wood pulp, microfibres also incorporated, and it's used for things like shirts and jeans. It has a very soft handle, a good drape, breathable, durable and crease resistant. It has a lot of combined properties. Face changing materials change according to the weather outside or the body that they are covering. For example, athletes get really hot when running. A phase changing material could be worn to keep them cool when running. It can also be used to wrap babies up, keeping babies warm when it's cool outside. Water repellent fabrics are another type of technical fabric. This is because they have a wax-based silicone topping which stops stains from sticking to the fabric and keeps you dry outside. Some protective clothing is treated with chemicals to protect the wearer from UV light. This is really good for children's clothing when they are wearing it on holiday. It stops any UV rays from getting to the skin. Products that are currently available are swimwear, hats, sportswear and children's clothing. Ryaville is an antibacterial fibre. It's a new fibre that has antibacterial substances integrated into the fabric. or what we will come to talk about later, microencapsulated into the fabric. It stops from the development of bacteria from any sort of bodily activity, for example, going to bed and sleeping. This is often used in bedding, socks, tights, underwear, children's clothes, and bandages and plasters. It's used a lot in hospital to stop bacterial cross-infection. Now we're going to look at composite materials. Composite materials are combination fabrics, one or two or even more fabrics combined together that are then used to make a new fabric. They can be bonded together. An example of a composite fabric is Kevlar. Kevlar is a bulletproof and stab-proof fabric which is used on bulletproof jackets, helmets, but it's also used because of its durability on ropes, cable, armour for the military, and parts of vehicles and planes. It's also used on Formula One fuel tanks. Carbon fibre is woven into textile fabrics. A type of epoxy resin is added to the fabric, making a strong, lightweight, and very durable fabric, but it is also easily moulded and shaped. It's corrosion resistant, water resistant, and really durable. This can be quite expensive, but has multiple uses. As you can see, it's used on cars, aerospace, bicycles, and motorbikes. It can then be painted to have a smooth finish. Shape memory alloys. Shape memory alloys, or SMA, remember the shape that they were originally in. So this is a type of metal that can be bended and moulded into multiple shapes, as shown below with the picture where they're folding the glass is. However, when a certain temperature is applied, it then returns to its shape. This is good for dental braces, but has also been used in advanced medicine. You can see here a stent is made from shape memory alloys and has been inserted into an artery that will allow the expand of greater blood flow. We're now going to move on to smart materials. Smart materials react to the outside stimuli and the environment around them. One example is photochromic materials. Photochromic can come in material, dye, or paint. You can then use this on fabrics. Examples are shown to the side. Photochromic beads change colour according to UV light. The same with paints and dyes. At the bottom, the glow-in-the-dark top is an example of photochromic. Thermochromic materials. Thermochromic materials change colour according to heat. Some examples are shown below. So you can get heat-sensitive fabric with the handprint on, but using it more functionally, it can be used for bowls and spoons for children, so you can see if the food is too hot to then feed them. Featured on The Apprentice, the TV show, a man designed a baby grow which changes colour when the baby is too hot, so they can identify in intensive care if the baby needs the temperature adjusting. This type of smart material I mentioned before, microencapsulation. Microencapsulated fibres have tiny capsules added into them that are filled with substances. The substances can be chemicals or a scent. These are slowly released when the fabric comes into contact with the skin. For example, you could have socks that are scented. When you put them on and walk, the tiny bubbles start to break and collapse and release the scent. These are types of odour repellents. There are also types of microencapsulation that are used in medicines. For example, the Savlon plasters shown have a chemical inside them that aid healing for a little bit longer. Biomimetics. Biomimetics is to mimic nature. They look at something that is natural, that works, and try and apply it to a product. In this case, they looked at sharks to see how they managed to swim so fast in the water, so that they could replicate it in the Olympics. They realised that shark skin is covered in tiny scales that reduce drag. And if you look at the fabric above that, they've tried to replicate that pattern in the fabric. When they wore that in the Olympics, it actually increased the speed and reduced drag. Hydrochromic fabrics change colour with water. This can be applied through inks or a fabric. They have generally been used for fun things like creating toys for children such as Aquadraw. They've also been used on children's costumes and umbrellas. But more recently they have become really popular in the nappy category, as they have applied a different ink onto the nappies so that it changes colour when it becomes wet, indicating that the baby needs changing. Polymorph is a type of thermoplastic. It can be shaped and reshaped a number of times. It's not like a thermosetting plastic. The plastic comes in tiny beads, is then added to hot water and creates a mouldable type of plastic. Once it's moulded into shape, it then sets, but can be remoulded again if needed to be. This is useful for forming handles and grips, complex shapes, or prototyping. Quantum tunnelling composites, or QTC, are part of an interactive textile category. Interactive textiles are textiles that incorporate electronics within the fabric or the product. For example, this one is a flexible polymer that's got tiny metal particles that normally have an insulator, but if it's squeezed it becomes a conductor and connects it into a circuit. This then creates like a switch. This could be used in clothing. The one shown there shows a jacket with a remote control in it. A music greeting card is a material with an electrical current. When you move and open the card, it then creates the sound. Electroluminescent wire, or EL, is another type of interactive textiles. This one is normally glowing or lit up. It can be incorporated into fabrics and products. It's very flexible, so can go around curves, but it can also be used for safety and emergency lighting. Interactive fabrics with circuits and electronics incorporated have become more popular. They are not just used for fun, but are actually used in hospitals for medical reasons. At the bottom here, you can see the Live Shirt. The Live Shirt incorporates a number of different systems and circuits that enable the user to record ECG levels, looking at pulse rate and heart rate. These are then all monitored and can be used at the hospital for data. There are also other things that are used. Gloves with lights in to allow cyclists to be seen at night, heated gloves, tracksuits that can monitor performance, garments that are inbuilt with mobile phones. Here are some fun ways that electronics have been used in textiles, where they have integrated an iPod into the ski jacket, the controls being on the sleeves and the speakers in the hood section. There's a pushchair here with an iPod system built into the top of the chair so the parent can control the sound, but the speaker's there for the children to listen to. There are a lot of things to remember in the technical, composite and smart category. It's really difficult to remember them all. I suggest that you create flashcards and at least one sentence on each that will help you to remember. Here is another task that you can do. Looking at the pictures of all the ones that we have seen here, try and connect them up to the titles on the side. Can you connect up as many as possible that you can remember? You can also use this activity in the future. Alternatively, you can make yourself a flashcard with some smart questions on them. Questions that relate to smart materials, technical materials and composite materials that you will be able to test yourself on in the future. Thank you for listening.